Welcome into the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner, and on this podcast, we talk about Kentucky basketball from a fan's perspective. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about Kentucky's first home win of SEC play, where they were able to beat Texas 85-80. And we're also going to be talking about Kentucky's upcoming home matchup versus Ole Miss. It's a Travis Perry return game. What that means for the Cats and what Kentucky's going to hopefully be able to do with their rotation and how Kentucky will be able to overcome just what they've struggled with in some of these games that they've lost at home, and Kentucky being able to pull out the win versus Texas and how that could carry over to that Ole Miss game. And in this Texas game, Kentucky was able to keep it tight early in the first half against a talented Texas team that came off a loss against Texas A&M, and before that had two straight really good wins against top 15 teams, against Vandy and Alabama, where they were able, one of those, go on the road and beat Alabama 92-88. This is a really talented Texas team where Kentucky was able to have a lead for a large majority of this game. In the first half, we had a 6-point lead. In the second half, Kentucky had as much of a lead as 12, where Kentucky was able to control the pace of the game and dictate how this game was going to be played, especially in that second half. Was able to score 45 points to Texas 40, where this game was tied at halftime. Texas was able to cut it to 3 after that 12-point lead for the Wildcats, and not scoring a field goal for the last around 5 minutes, making 9 free throws, but the Cats were still able to overcome some of those inefficiencies and pull out a win against, like I said, a talented Texas team, where Kentucky had really a three-headed monster in this game, with 3 guys having at least 18 or more points. That was Owe, Denzel Aberdeen, and Colin Chandler. Colin Chandler having 18, Owe having 18, and Denzel Aberdeen having 18. 3 guys that are going to have to play a lot for the Wildcats, as Kentucky's really guys that can only play the 1 position. Really, Denzel Aberdeen and Jasper Johnson are really the only guys that I would feel comfortable at all playing the 1. But Kentucky will have to see what ends up happening, especially after in this game, Cam Williams landed on his foot like a non-contact injury early in the second half, where it ended up coming out that he fractured his foot and is going to be out for a very extended period. Haven't heard a total timeline just yet, but we'll see what the sophomore ends up his future going to be. A guy that is definitely a part of Kentucky's future right now. We'll see what ends up happening after the season is over, but my expectation would, if he ends up being out for the year, for him to return next year, similar to Jalen Lowe. Overall, Kentucky, like I said, had three guys in double figures. Yelovich had 4, but he had 7 boards. He had some early foul trouble, only playing 18 minutes. He had 4, 7, 1 assist to 1 turnover. Malachi was really good in this game. He had 8 points. Not the most efficient game from him, 2 for 6 from the field. He shot 1 3, went 0 for 1. He had 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. So it was a really impactful game in different ways. Not his most efficient rebounding game, but he did a little bit of everything for the Cats while playing 26 minutes and being Kentucky's best big in this game. Not getting a whole lot out of Brandon Garrison, only played 14 minutes, was 0 for 3 from the field and 0 for 1 from 3, and only had 3 rebounds and 1 assist, and just wasn't super efficient. But Kentucky really was able to get a lot of their points off the free throw line. Like I said, they didn't score a field goal for the last 5 minutes of the game. Kentucky got 30 of their 85 points from the free throw line. So they were really able to control getting to the line against a really, really good Texas team about getting to the free throw line. Texas got to it quite a bit, shooting 20 free throws, making 18 of them, shooting 90%. Kentucky was 30 for 35, shooting 86%. So both teams were shooting at a really high level. And with Kentucky being able to have advantage and neutralize one of the best free throw shooting teams and free throw volume teams in the country, that really allowed this Kentucky team to take advantage of their other advantages, like rebounding, being able to out rebound them by 2, having low turnovers, only having 8, and several of those coming in the last couple of minutes of the game, where we had an offensive foul, a couple offensive rebounds given up. Some of those margins were bigger until the end of the game, but I thought Kentucky was able to hold on and extend their lead in certain points to give them enough cushion going down the stretch that even when Kentucky made some mistakes and it didn't execute at a high level, Kentucky was still able to overcome this deficit and create some advantages for themselves and be able to get to the free throw line and create easy opportunities for themselves from there and have 30 out of their 85 points come from the free throw line. Also for the Cats, a big thing coming out of this game, the Cam Williams injury. He's going to be out for a while with a fractured foot, most likely. How is the rotation going to have to look like? Trent Noah played 2 minutes in this game. He played 2 minutes when Otega Owe picked up his 4th foul. So realistically, he had to go into the game. He's going to be a guy that Kentucky is going to have some big minutes from. He played 2 minutes in this game, had 2 rebounds, had 2 fouls. One of those fouls was a little sketchy. It was a push off on a rebound. It wasn't very much of a push off, and he getting grabbed like our guards feels like it happens every game on the perimeter. They're just grabbing, and he pushed off was the foul, and he had a turnover on that. But I don't think he was horrible defensively. He made pretty good decisions offensively for only being in for 2 minutes and being under control. Like I said, he's going to be a guy that we need to get to that 10, 11-minute mark. We're going to have to consistently have Jasper playing probably 12 minutes a game. That gives you extra 13 minutes, and Cam played 16. If you could stack some lineups where you put Yelovich at the 4 and put Mo at the 3, with Yelovich with his shooting, and if you still have Colin Chandler in the game and not Otega Owe, I think that offensively could balance out, and you could still have floor spacing while having some guys who can play defense. Denzel Aberdeen played 32 minutes. Colin Chandler played 32 minutes. My thought process is I would like to have them anywhere between that. On the lowest end, if they get in foul trouble, I would say 28. But the most, I would say like 32 would probably be where I would like to have them. 30, anywhere around that 30 to 32 minutes a game for those 3 primary guards that are going to be on the floor a lot. I'd like to keep Otega around that 30 or that 32 mark, and then Colin Chandler around that 29, 30 mark, and then Denzel Aberdeen somewhere around the same, around that 30 to 31, 28, somewhere around in there, just in the low 30s. I don't want these guys to get upper 40s where some of Colin Chandler looked gas yesterday playing 32 minutes. Kentucky's going to get in a rhythm having guys play this much, but Pope's offense takes a lot of energy for the Cats to play, and it's just very time-consuming execution. And these guys are going to have the ball in their hands a lot, so Coach Pope's going to have to be even more strategic with his substitutions and with his timeout placements, trying to maximize those. And also Kentucky is also hosting, I said, Ole Miss, a team that's had an up and down season, has had a couple big wins, but really kind of struggled in the non-conference. Won in overtime against a pretty good Georgia team, beat Mississippi State on the road, but lost to Auburn by 12, lost to Oklahoma by 16. Really was not able to produce any big wins in the non-conference. Still a decently talented team. It's a Travis Perry return game. He's playing about 15 minutes a game, averaging about 6 points. We'll see what he ends up doing. Malik Day, a 6'9" senior forward. He's averaging about 13, almost 7, and a little less than an assist a game. He's their leading scorer right now. This Ole Miss team is pretty balanced scoring, having 3 guys in consistently double figures, having 2 guys that are right around double figures, averaging about 75 points a game. Kentucky is a much better scoring team, scoring about 83 points per game on average. We give up about the same amount, 71, 70, so equal in that category. But overall, I think Kentucky is just the more talented team. We'll see which Ole Miss team we get, Georgia or Mississippi State. But I think this Kentucky team, if they do what they do best, come in, get rebounds, play efficiently, and is overall just a complete performance from Kentucky from beginning to end, I think the Cats will come out with the win at home and stretch this to a 5-game winning streak going into 2 important road games against Vandy and against Arkansas, in a Vandy team that's kind of limping into it a little bit. It's had a couple tough losses, a not super big, not super athletic team. So could Kentucky take advantage of some of that size that we would have? For the Cats, it's important to take one game at a time against a team that tends to be up and down. So Kentucky can just go ahead and take care of business and move on and protect home court. It's going to be the most important in a solid SEC where Kentucky is going to need to keep stacking wins and get confident with the rotation they now have with Cam Williams being out. That's all from the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. And you can find me at Quest Number 9 on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date for my new episodes. I post them there. And I will see you next time.